So this is the Feels Like Home stamp set, and this is a SaleAbration set that is one of the free options with a purchase with me during August and September. And this is just a really nice, elegant, kind of vintagey looking stamp set. I want to make a project with you that shows that you don't have to color in this image. Some people might look at this and feel just a little bit intimidated thinking they've got to color in all this detail, but you don't necessarily have to. So we've got our card base, and we have basic white, thick basic white, and this is 8 1/4 inches by 5 1/2. And then I have used the Peaceful Place papers. Now the Peaceful Place papers are also a SaleAbration gift, and this piece is 5 1/8 inches by 3 3/4 inches, and then I've got a mat of basic black that's just bigger than that, or about 5 1/4 by 3 7/8 inches. And one of my favorite things to do with designer series papers is to use a little piece of sandpaper and just go along the edges and rough them up just a little bit. It's more than roughing it up, it's more just taking some of that printed ink off. And I think particularly when you have white or white as your base, it's nice to just expose that little bit of white so it all ties in that little bit more together. And then I'll go ahead and put that on the card front. And I'm just gluing that down flat, but you could put it up on dimensionals if you wanted to. I wanted to do a little black layer before I put my stamped piece on top. And I have embossed that with the Merry Melody. But even when I was designing this, I felt like it looked a little bit flat. So here's something that you can do that doesn't use any more equipment than what you probably already have, is use your Versamark. I probably should have got a mat, but that's all right. And just lightly, like just the weight of the ink pad, brush over the top. So the idea is that you're just getting ink on the raised portions. And then we'll use our clear embossing powder. So we use white embossing powder a lot, but there is, you do need the clear powder as well. And I'm just going to use my finger and brush off where I didn't want it so much. So you're going to get something that looks like that, and it does look white, but when you heat it, it goes clear. So once you've heated it, see, I think you can see the shine there. There we go. Once you've heated it, you get that shiny look, but it's not entirely shiny. It's just kind of shiny on the raised portions and maybe a little bit where there's some little stray powder, but I quite like that vintagey look anyway, where it's a little bit not completely perfect. And I'll take that one step further and just use my scissors along the edge. And I'll put that about 2/3 up so it's not quite in the middle. I'm going to stamp that on the cork paper. Now if you haven't seen the cork paper or noticed it, I think this is actually my favorite thing out of the catalog. It's got strips of cork, so it's already got a little bit of stripe. It's got a texture to it, and it even has little bits that are shimmery. It's like got gold running through it, but it's literally as thin as paper. So it's easy to cut, easy to die cut, easy to punch. It's just fantastic. So what I'm going to do is stamp that on to the cork, and I'm going to use my Stamparatus, and I'm going to use Versamark, and we're going to white emboss this. Your Stamparatus is really great when you have kind of larger images, because sometimes if you're a small person or have small hands, it's hard to get a good clear image just manually. Okay, then what I would do is take that to the heat tool and heat that up, which I've already got one ready. And then what I'm going to do is take my trimmer. So it's going to look like that. Take my trimmer and actually slice it into thirds. I forgot to say this was 3 1/4 inches by 3 inches. And then these two end strips, I just took a little, you know, just, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch off the top and off the bottom. So these two pieces were just that little bit shorter. Okay, then I've put this up on our foam adhesive strips. So they're just large sheets of adhesive. You can see that. And I'm going to go ahead and just eyeball the middle here. So I'm going to match up so that the image is matched, but the cork is, you know, shorter. And then I'm just leaving that little bit of a gap there. I didn't quite get it in the middle, but I think it's pretty close enough. So we get that kind of a look, which I love all the texture going on here. I pulled this out of my little bucket of already done ones. These are from the mini messages, that mini messages stamp. Everyone really needs to have that, I think, in their stash. It's a big stamp that has, I've never actually counted, probably 15 or so words on it, and then a die that just cuts them all out at once in all different shapes, and they're all different sizes and different sorts of sayings. It's just a really fast and efficient way to get a whole stash of words. Okay, then I want to do my ribbon. This is, you know, in my top 10 list from the catalog as well. This is the black and white gingham ribbon, and I love the black and white. As you know, the black and white words are just, we use them probably on every other video, if not more. But the black and white ribbon is similar. It just will go with everything. Plus you can use your blends and color this in so that it becomes black and whatever color you've colored it. So it's very useful. Then I'm going to take this ribbon. I'm actually going to cut it up the middle. So what I'm going to do here is actually make two loops around my fingers. If you've come to class, you've done this with me in class. So you end up with 2 loops like this, and then I'm just going to fold it in half, and I'm keeping the ends in between my fingers. And then I will use this one. And then just use the other one to tie those, secure those ends in. Yeah, I think that worked out all right. Okay, and you can trim it up or adjust it as you wish. And then we're going to put that on our project. So we'll put our ribbon on like that. So I have the brushed metallic adhesive back dots, and I have the black dots. I like the gold ones with this. So we'll just use, we'll use a little gold one and just tuck it under here. And then grab a little black one under here. Okay, and there we go. And there's our project. Here's the one that I made earlier today. It looks pretty much the same. And then inside your card, you can just use the little tulip stamp or whatever stamps that you would like in there as well. Okay, now for some other samples. We have this one here where I have created an envelope. And this one I have colored it in. So I've used actual watercolor paper, stamped it and stays on. And I just put color on there. I wasn't too careful and detailed with it. I just put color kind of in those general areas, and then used Wink of Stella on a few bits. And then hopefully you can see you've got windows, and I've put the shimmery crystal effects here on the windows. And then this paper is from the Bloom Where You're Planted pack, so that's a nice one to work in with this stamp set as well. And then I've made an envelope to match. Okay, then our next project, if you came to the extravaganzas we had in July, this is one of the card bases that I used to make a turtle card, but I've rotated it the other way, and then this becomes an easel card. Here, I'll hold it up like this so you can see. And so this piece just rests on that little ledge there. And this one I've done with the Host papers, the black version, or you could use other black and white papers and just use the splash of color with the ribbon and use the crystal effects again on the windows. And then this I didn't color at all. I just stamped it in black and the windows on shiny, and that's all for embellishing. So this is like a really quick one because there's just no coloring whatsoever. And then this one here is what I call my clean and simple card. It's just literally stamped on the paper, the stitched with whimsy around, which makes such a big difference. It really does add something to your one layer cards, although this one's technically not one layer, but just stamped directly on and did some coloring, stamped my words directly on, and I just used some little scraps of that brick paper that I've used on this one, just top and bottom, just to add that little bit of color underneath. And I might still put on a little twine there. I almost just can't resist. It just feels like it needs it, but we'll see. And then my last one is definitely more advanced. This one I have stamped on the silver foil, and I have used the Stampin' Blends on that, and there is a little bit of a technique to that, and the full video for this card, including how to do the background and how to do the blends and how to do the clear embossing on the top of this one, will be up Friday evening at 9 New Zealand time, so in about 26 hours that will be on YouTube, so I hope you join me for that. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me, and I will see you again next week. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.